Hi YouTube, it's Style by Dee, and I know that it's been a long time since I have done a video on YouTube, and the reason is because I have actually just gone through cosmetology school and I took the aesthetics program, and I actually took my state board last Tuesday and passed. So that being done, now I can kind of get back into doing videos and doing outfits of the day on my blog, which is stylebydd.com. So check that out too if you want to see like outfits of the day or reviews on different products or how-tos. Definitely check that out. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is because when you go through YouTube and you search for different topics on aesthetics, you usually don't get any kind of information on how the exam is, what to expect, what to do to prepare. You don't even get like a walkthrough kind of like cosmetology students do, which is awesome and great for them that they have something to look for or to look through to kind of get an idea of what to expect. So that's why I wanted to do this video. It's how to prepare for the Esthetician State Board. Now, the State Board doesn't allow you to discuss the types of questions or the procedures as far as being inside of the testing facility. So I'm not going to review any of the questions that'll be there, but what I will say is some of the topics that I chose to study and focus on, and that way hopefully that'll kind of give you more of like direction of what you should study for, that I think helped me. So to begin on study habits, studying is really, really important, especially because as estheticians we have to know the anatomy of the body, we need to know chemistry, we need to know electricity, we need to know the skin levels and diseases of the skin, the layers of the skin, and then how different elements can affect or different products can affect our skin. So you do need to study. It's not something that I think people should take very lightly. So what I did to study was I reviewed exams that I had been given at school. So if you are going through any type of good training, a good program, they're going to test you on the information per chapter. So a lot of times you can keep those exams, and I just reviewed them. What I did to kind of help refresh my memory was I retyped a lot of the questions from those exams into like a PowerPoint, and then selected what the right answer was and then highlighted that to the next slide. So that way you kind of can quiz yourself and then go to the next slide and see, oh, okay, I got that answer right, or I got it wrong, and then typing it up again also helps to refresh your memory. I was surprised of how much I did remember just by doing that alone. Review your book. A lot of times the book has like questions or little like review questions that you can kind of review yourself on. I didn't do this, my friends did do that, and it helped them, they passed. So it really just depends on what helps you study the best. There are some YouTube videos that are uploaded for cosmetology students, but there are some topics that we get. So they do have videos on skin and its disorders, chemistry, electricity, anatomy. And one great channel that I found that really does really great kind of walkthroughs and quizzes on these topics is BeautyHealthTravel. And I'll go ahead and link their channel down below so that way you can kind of go through their channel and see what would apply for you. And if you are in a cosmetology program, definitely a great tool to kind of study off of. And then moving on to now the exam day or the day before the exam, because you are going to be really, really nervous. So I actually went and stayed in a hotel the night before. So you want to be able to get familiar with where you're going to be testing at. You don't want to go the day of the test and get lost and not being able to find the place. That's going to make you late, which they won't let you in if you are late. They take tardiness very, very seriously. So you don't want to get locked out. You do want to know where you're going, where you can park, how long it's going to take you to get there if you are staying overnight, just because you may not be familiar with that location. So definitely go and familiarize yourself. That definitely makes you a little less anxious about the actual day of the exam. And then give yourself like a certain cutoff point. Like for me, I studied until about 5:30. And after that, I just said, if I don't know the information, then I don't know it. I'm not going to keep, because then I feel like you start to second guess yourself, and then you start to confuse yourself, and it's just kind of like a recipe for disaster. So I suggest that you give yourself a cutoff time and then go do something fun. I went and saw a movie. I saw, what is that one? The Life of Walter Mitty, which is just such an awesome movie. And it really just takes you to this whole other life, this other world that you can just kind of disconnect. So find a movie that's maybe something that's not going to be too heavy, something light and fun, funny, just to kind of get your mind off things. And of course, you want to get plenty of rest. You want to make sure that you have, that you have a good dinner or a good breakfast, snacks, just because you want to make sure that you're on your best. So then moving on to the day of the test. And sorry, I keep looking down because I have notes. Try to stay calm. I know that it's really, really hard. Maybe some of you have anxiety issues. Like I have really bad anxiety. So I did take an anti-anxiety pill the night before that was prescribed to me by a physician. So if you do have something like that, then I would suggest maybe taking it the night before, not that day of, because it usually makes you a little drowsy. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. And then make sure you have everything, all your letters, your paperwork, your ID, because they will check for those things. And if you don't have those things, most likely they won't let you take the exam. If you have time, visit the kit facility. And this is like the kind of kit that you get. See a little doll head. A lot of times, like the facility I went to, the kit location was actually right next door. And they give demos in between the exam. So if you have your written first in the morning, and then you've got like about a 2 to 3 hour break in between the practical, then you can go and take the demo class at your kit place. That's also the time that you can go and purchase your kit if you haven't purchased it, which I hope that you do purchase it prior to this day, because you will need to know your kit. You need to be familiar with what's in there. So definitely go for a demo. It definitely helps to refresh your memory of the steps that you need to take throughout the practical exam. Don't rush through the test. That's both written and the practical. You don't want to start feeling rushed, because then you may not answer or read the questions thoroughly. Just take your time. If, let's say for the practical, you want to count the steps you need to take for each procedure, do that. Give yourself like a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7 step. Usually they're about that amount of steps. You can do that, and then that way when you're going through it, you can count to yourself in your head, of course, not out loud, because then you may not pass the exam, because the facilitator might think you're a little crazy. But do it in your head, count it, figure out what's the best practice for you so that you don't forget anything. Because for me, I forgot something, and maybe if I would have had numbers, then I would have been okay. Don't try to be over friendly with the facilitator. Don't try to get on their good side. doesn't work, you're not going to get brownie points for doing it. They are very, very serious. And then another thing that I did was I rushed to the front of the line, and then I ended up being like the first person to go through the procedures. And that's very nerve-wracking. You're like the very first person to be on the spot, and you don't get a chance to kind of compose yourself because you're the first one. So take your time. You don't need to be first in line. It's not gonna guarantee that you pass. If you can have your friend, a partner, or a family member come with you just to have support, because you will need it. It is very nerve-wracking. These types of tests can really make people anxious. So I was fortunate enough to have my wife come with me, and she did wait in the car. She waited in the car for about maybe a total of 3 hours. And I would suggest that you tell them to bring something to read, bring, I don't know, a movie to play on their laptop, something. Or they can go shopping if it's near a mall, and just tell them that the practical itself is probably about 3 to 4 hours. So the written, they could probably wait for you in the car, because that, you know, that's like about, they give you 2 hours. But I would say for the practical, let them go do their thing and come back for you. Because you aren't allowed to take a phone in, so you can't communicate with them. If let's say you drive yourself, then you can keep your phone in your car. But if you want someone for support, just kind of give them a time frame to come back. And then just pick a place to celebrate. That way you kind of already set your mind on passing the exam, and it's all in the power of the universe. You put it out there, and you just know everything's going to be okay. Your life doesn't depend on you passing the exam. This is just a step on moving forward. So one quick thing, I'm just going to show you a little bit of the kit, just so you kind of see what mine looked like. It has the doll head for the procedures, and then you kind of get like hand sanitizer, you get your blood spill kit, and then you get your disinfectant. So those are the things that come in there, and you want to keep those in a place that you can get to easily. And then let me get what's inside. So you want your soiled linens bag, and then you have a table setup bag, and inside of here you have the towel that you need to set down so that your SMA can go onto that. And then you also have your SMAs. These are like these little blue slips. White towels if you need more for like the décolleté. You get a head bonnet. This I actually used for a neck wrap, just because they didn't include one in my kit. But then when I went to the demo, they said that you should do that underneath the cape. An extra set of gloves, and then I have a cape in here. So you want to make sure that you have these things in order. That way you can be familiar with them and be able to get through it, because you only get a certain amount of time to get the procedures ready. So I would say definitely be familiar with it. One thing that I did see was that people did include or like create their own kits. I personally wouldn't do it, just because I think it just takes too long to do it that way. You get a box of Kleenex that's in there, and then your little clear bag for like not disposables, but instruments to be disinfected. And then you get a bag for each thing. You get a tweezing and waxing. You get the massage procedure kit. You get your mask kit. And you get a makeup kit. So those are all the procedures, and that is everything I've got for the Esthetician State Board. Good luck to you. Leave me comments down below if you have any questions on how to study for the exam, or just anything. If you're nervous about it and you want to just chat about it, leave the comments down below and I will be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Well, thanks again for watching, and please subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye!